Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster 3, and this is going to be, let's see here, I'm just gonna adjust the camera for a little bit. What's up everyone? Oh damn, I completely just screwed up the intro. Well, enough about that. Now it's time for that video I've been talking about for quite some time. It's the top 10 horror movies from the last decade. And this is just my personal opinion. So, I mean, some of you might say, well, that movie's piece of shit or this is garbage and I don't agree with you. Well, that's the great thing about the internet in general. You can just say what you want and say, like, just explain why you think in a certain way and what your opinion is on certain uh, different things. So, yeah, that's just now I just keep mumbling here. So this is going to be my top 10 horror films from the last decade. So this pretty much means 2010 up until 2019. So yeah, and like you know, with me, I usually don't care too much for newer films in general. I usually just watch like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s films in general. Um, but these are the ones that I've liked the most out of the horror films that have come out in the last decade or so. So before we continue with the list, I'm just gonna mention some of the films which could have made it to my list, but just barely didn't make it into the list. So these are sort of like honorable mentions in a way. Um, First up, we have this is like in no particular order. These honorable mentions, by the way, these are just films that I really like as well that I think people should check out if you're a horror fan, that is. Otherwise, why the hell would you watch this video? Well, anyway, let's begin. First honorable mention is Hellfest. Watched that in the cinemas. I really liked that, and I thought it was an entertaining slasher film because I had not seen a slasher film like in the cinemas like for like ever basically. So yeah. Then at number not number 8. I just mentioned that these are honorable mentions. God damn it! Oh, can't think today. Um, the next honorable mention is Adam Chaplin. Such a gory, awesome film. If you've seen Ricky O, which is like a Chinese splatter film from the early 90s, you pretty much get that, but this is like an Italian version of that. Not a version, but it has very much similarities with one another. Uh, Especially when it comes to the gore. This is one of the goriest and bloodiest films I've ever seen, so if you like that, check out Adam Chaplin. Next honorable mention is a Serbian film. I know many people say, "Oh God, that's so disturbing. It's so disgusting." Ugh. I'm like, why? What? Have you ever seen any like horror films whatsoever? I mean, I can mention numerous of other films which is just way worse than a Serbian film, but maybe that's just my opinion. Yeah, a Serbian film, I think it's still a really great film, and I think the main reason why I liked it so much is because this could have happened in real life, basically. I mean, maybe not everything that's involved in this could be made in like everything is not too realistic. I mean, at all of the times, but it's very gritty and really grim, and I think more people should praise this movie instead of just bashing on it just because of that scene. Because come on, it's only a film, and um, it's pretty much obvious it's fake. So I mean, you know what I mean. Um, then we have next honorable mention is another film I saw in the cinemas, Crawl, directed by Alexandra Aja, which I am such a big fan of that director. I've liked every film that he's directed that I've seen so far. That is so. Crawl, really amazing Killer Croc film in general. So yeah, Crawl. Next honorable mention is The Reef. Really great um, shark film. This has to be one of my favorite shark films next to the original Jaws. If you like a serious shark film in general, go check out The Reef. I really, really like that one. I like the fact that they used a real shark for some of the underwater footage. So, yeah, really amazing shark film in general. So, yeah, the Reef. Next honorable mention is The Skin I Live In. I'm not going to say anything about the film because I want you to go into watching that film without knowing anything. I think that's the best way to describe it because, yeah, just don't read anything about The Skin I Live In before watching it, and I think you will probably enjoy it much more. So, yeah, The Skin I Live In. Next honorable mention is The Void. A really weird film. It sort of feels like a mix between Hellraiser and Alien in a way. I think it's really weird. But I really liked it though, and some of the special effects in that, like practical effects, they are really amazing. So yeah, The Void. Then we have a film which I this one is really great as well. Green Room, which came out in 2015. Unfortunately, the actor Anton Yelchin, who plays like the lead role in this, passed away. I think it was just 1 or 2 years after this film. Um, but yeah, it's such a shame that he died. But the film itself was really good, and it's basically about this rock band going out playing gigs, and they end up in this, like, I think it's not a Nazi bar or something, or a Nazi compound or something, and they pretty much get locked in there, and because they've witnessed a murder, and it's pretty much just them against all of these Nazis. So really amazing film. I really like that one. So yeah, I could have made a list, but it's just so hard. I mean, to make these type of lists in general. So yeah, the next and last honorable mention on this list is going to be Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, which is directed by the same guy who did the Dead Snow films. I just think it's such a shame that this film still hasn't gotten a sequel, because this would have made. I mean, if they would have made a sequel to this one, I would definitely watch that. Unfortunately, I think neither of the actors that portray the original characters are prepared to reprise their roles, if that makes sense. But really great film. I think it just witches in general, when it comes to horror, I think there hasn't been enough of those in recent years. Maybe I've missed out on some films that I haven't seen yet. So, but that's just my opinion of what I've experienced. So yeah, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Now on to the top 10 list. I've been mumbling for almost 7 minutes now without even getting to the top 10 lists. But yeah, let's begin right away with number 10. At number 10, we have another film I've watched in the cinemas, a film called Overlord. I really like this one. This has some similarities with not Dead Snow. I mean, it's basically I mean, this takes place during the Second World War, and for all of those who know about your history lessons, the Nazis actually did do some really nasty experiments during the Second World War, and this movie pretty much takes that to a whole new level of experiments, and I really like that, because they pretty much, this is like really not really any big spoiler, but they basically make this type of serum which makes anyone who takes it like a lunatic or like a really overpowered zombie basically. So yeah, really amazing film. I think more people should see this one, and it was such an amazing experience for me to watch this in cinema. So if you like war type of films and horror films in general, and this is a great mix in between, I would say. So yeah, Overlord. The only thing which I did not care too much for it is that it's a little bit too much towards the end. I could have shorted that down a little bit, but that's just my personal opinion. But otherwise, I think this is a great film, Overlord, at number 10. And at number 9, we have a film called Mandy. I know that Nicolas Cage has gotten a whole lot of shit, that some people say, oh, he's a terrible actor and everything. I mean, I just think this one really proves them wrong, because I think he pretty much he really went all 100% into his role in this film. And I'm so glad that Nicolas Cage have like tried to dive into more different type of roles that he has taken before in recent years, that is. So and this is directed by what's his name, Panos Cosmatos, and this guy also directed, I think this was the same guy who directed Color Out of Space, but of course my alarm goes off. Anyway, now I completely lost track, but anyway, Mandy at number 9. Yeah. Then at number 8 we have a film which I didn't expect that I would like this so much that I did, but yeah, this is one of the best clown-related horror films that I've seen. I know many people say, "Oh, not Stitches." This is Stitches, by the way. One I was gonna talk about, which is at number 8. But I know many people say, "Oh, Terrifier is such a great killer clown film," but I just find that entire film to be overrated as hell. Maybe that's just that I haven't really understood that film or in general. But if you like a good killer clown film, just watch Stitches. This is an Irish film, I believe, and I really like the portrayal of the Stitches character, who's played by Ross Noble. I don't really know anything about that guy in general, but I think he did a great job in this one. Once again, really great effects. This is pretty much like a slasher with a clown, basically. So yeah, Stitches, really amazing and sometimes really funny as well. Then at number 7, it just seems like I'm repeating myself over and over again when I do this, but this is another film I watched in the cinemas, and this one really, I mean, I really, really loved this film when I watched it in the cinemas because it just felt like it was a love letter to some of those older, old school horror films because it took so many type of references from those films and then just blended it into one film. Uh, in recent years, when I rewatched it, I have come to realize that I don't like it as much as I did before, but that doesn't really matter too much. But the film itself is gonna, yeah, it's Cabin in the Woods. It seems like this film is an either you really hate this film or you really love this film, and I really love this film, except for one thing which I didn't think too much about it the first time I watched it, but after I've watched it numerous of times, I've come to realize that I do not care for the stoner character in this film. It just feels like he's just put there in that film just to make people laugh, and his jokes and all of that, and the things that he says. It's not as funny as I thought it was really funny the first time I saw this film, but after a while it just gets really annoying and frustrating in my opinion. So some of that humor doesn't really stick with you. Um, but overall, I think this is a really entertaining film. So yeah, Cabin in the Woods at number 7, and that's another film that I think you shouldn't read up too much about before watching it. So yeah. Then at number 6 we have a film which I have not heard anyone talk about. I don't think I've seen any YouTuber or anyone talk about this film on YouTube in general, and I think that's just a shame. But I think this might be an Australian film. I'm not too sure, but this is like a blend of, just like it says on the front cover here, Mad Max meets Dawn of the Dead. That's a great combination in my opinion, and maybe that's another reason why I like it so much. But Wormwood, I'm not really sure if I pronounced that right, but Wormwood. I'm not gonna even try to say that again, but if you like zombies and you like Mad Max, just go ahead and watch this film. This is a really entertaining, action-filled horror film. So, and I think I've come to realize that I really like action-themed horror films, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, Wormwood, really amazing film. Number 6, yeah. At number 5, we have, this is like I think this might be the only Japanese film on this list, but yeah, this one is actually, I mean, some of the effects in this film is really, really terrible. And then you might ask yourself, why the hell did you put this on your number 5 spot on this list? But the reason why is because this has to be one of the funniest Japanese films I've ever seen. And I still remember, because I watched this when it was quite new with some of my friends, and I have not seen my friend laugh as much as he did when we watched this film. This is that's a precious memory of mine. But the film is called Dead Sushi. Oh God, this is amazing. I mean, just based on the ridiculous things like sushi trying to eat you. That whole concept. I mean, the Japanese people, they really know how to make creative and weird ass films, and sometimes they are really, really funny, and this is a perfect example of that. So it's pretty much sushi trying to eat people. So it's like if the sushi was turned into zombies, but the zombies, it's not like they don't exist. It's just basically sushi's flying around trying to kill people. So yeah, Dead Sushi, amazing, really funny film. Really funny film. At number 5, now let's see here. At number 4, we have one of those throwback films. I don't really like that term in general, but this is basically like a love letter to 80s thriller horror films in general. So the film is called Summer of '84. This might be more of a thriller than a straightforward horror film, but I think it's pretty much about these group of kids who suspect that one of these guys in this gang, his neighbor is really really weird, and they suspect that he might be the local serial killer. But no one believes any one of them because this guy is actually a cop. So they're like, okay, this cop can't be like a serial killer. There's no way. and they start to investigate on their own. And I really like the fact that these are like basically kids, and most of the times when it comes to kid actors, it seems to me that they can't really put up a good job when it comes to the acting and all that. But the kids in this film, they are really amazing in my opinion. And if you like your horror mysteries, that sounds weird, but if you like horror mystery type of themed films, that sounds weird. Well, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But Summer of '84, really amazing and really entertaining film. Really suspenseful as well. This is at number 4. At number 3, we have a film which, oh my god, sorry. We got a film at number 3 which got recommended to me by one of my friends. And yeah, if you watch this, you know who you are, and thank you very much for recommending this to me. The film is called VFW. Oh damn! I did not expect that. I mean, I would never expect that I would have liked this film so much that I did. I mean, this has a great cast: Stephen Lang, William Sadler, Martin Coe, and Fred Williamson, among others in this one. And yeah, I think most people have probably already talked about this one because this is a fairly new film, like a pretty new film. This came out last year, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's basically about these old Vietnam War veterans having this little pub, and pretty much everyone that has fought in the war are basically welcome to this pub. And there's like one lady that has pretty much like stolen some drugs from a local drug dealer, or like his gang basically, and she run into this pub, and it's basically these Vietnam veterans against these drug dealers. So it's pretty much like a fight till the end like scenario where they have to defend themselves in the bar from these lunatics basically. So yeah, VFW, if you haven't seen this one, check it out. Really amazing film. At number 3. And the next film is a film that I think I mentioned before that I think would go really well as a double bill with the VFW, because it seems like they have a similar type of tone to them. The film is called Hobo with a Shotgun. This is at number 2. And some people would say, well, why would you put this on your list? This is not a horror film, but I still think it has some horror elements to it, and that's the reason why I included it into the list. And also it's categorized as horror on IMDb, so yeah, that's another reason why I wanted to include this film. And Rutger Hauer puts on a really great showing in this. I think he is amazing in this one, and I think pretty much everyone involved in this project did a really good job. Even the bad guy is like, it seems like he's overacting, but at the same time it's so damn charming you just can't help but love him, even though he is a really really sleazy and disgusting human being basically. But yeah, Hobo with a Shotgun, amazing film. And I really love the quote here on the front. It basically says here, but in Swedish, kicks Machete's ass, basically, like the other film Machete. And I can agree with that. I did not like Machete whatsoever. I think Hobo with a Shotgun is such a more superior film. So yeah, Hobo with a Shotgun at number 2. Now I've been talking for almost 20 minutes, so I'm gonna try to speed up. And finally, at number 1 is a film which I have seen. I think I've probably seen this at least like 10 times already. And I think the main reason why I like this one so much is because I think it's a great blend of splatter and comedy. And I mean, if you're a horror fan and if you really like metal music in general, and if you really appreciate some of those old school Peter Jackson type of films, this is basically the film for you. Deathgasm. It's basically about this guy who's pretty much like bullied at school, and he teams up with another teen who's really into metal, and so is he. So he and some two other friends from this school, along with those two persons as well, they start this metal band, and they come across like a cursed lyrics, or like cursed notebook or something, and they play the notes from that notebook. And yeah, it's pretty much they're like this curse going around in the entire town, so everyone pretty much turns into zombies. So it's basically up to this metal band to eliminate all of the zombies and also try to kill this main demon guy. I can't really remember his name, but Death Gasm, really amazing film. If you like splatter, if you like metal, and if you like old school Peter Jackson films, go check this one out. You won't be disappointed. So that was everything. Now I've been almost talking for 21 minutes, and yeah, that's how it goes sometimes when you talk about films. But try to keep it as short as I could. But yeah. Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed, and keep your eyes open for the next video. I'm not really sure what type of video that's gonna be. Maybe another top 10 list, or I'm not really sure. We'll see how it goes anyway. But yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.